Hey guys, Module 4, Market Sector Spotlight, Energy. Do you have energy? Let's find out. Energy products, essentially oil and gas, things that, make energy, as well as, to a certain extent, utilities, electric, things like that. Oil and gas and electric, technically they're separate things, but I'm kind of lumping them together here anyway, and we'll come back to a couple of them a little bit later. All right, so a couple of underlines. USO is and slash CL. These are oil. So let me go into USO. So here we can see kind of generally. From now on, I'm going to talk to you about, when I look at a chart, what I think is happening. I would say oil is in a big old range right now. So I would probably be neutral to slightly bearish on oil because it's in a range but it's kind of at the top of its range right now. So I would probably sell a strangle. One of the things I would say that I don't like about USO is it's very low priced stock. It's only $12, which means that you cannot get a whole lot for the options. Let me I'm going to switch platforms a little bit just to give us a little bit of flavor. Let me go into Tastyworks. I'm just putting USO up here at the top. Go to the trade tab and go to the table view here in the top. Let's go to the expiration closest to 45 days and look at the spread of the option price. It's pretty good, 2-cent wide. Look how cheap they are. So if I were to sell a 1 standard deviation strangle, I get 13 cents for it. Like if I were gonna try to manage that 50%, I'm gonna make what, $6? It's like it's not a good underlying to trade. What I tend to do with USO is I tend to, when it has a sharp down movement, I tend to sell at the money puts is what I tend to do with it. So on day like here, kind of days like this, I'll sell an at the money put. Then I'll do what's called roll it for a little while, give myself time to rewrite. But the price of an option, one of the things it's based on is the price of the underlying stock. It's a very cheap stock, so it's actually hard to sell options. There's also slash CL. This is the future, the oil future. But again, I wouldn't necessarily look at futures in this course. They are very high priced. Let me take a look at if I were to go, so slash CL here in Thinkorswim, and if I were to sell an at the money put, let's take a look here. It's being a little slow off the 12. Let's go to the 44-day. Selling at the money put. Oh, look how wide the bid-ask spread is. It's just because the market is closed right now. That's all. So let's pick somewhere in the middle. Let's say I was selling this for like $1.50. And the thing that's confusing about futures is that it's very, you'd think it's $1.50 or, it's like I'm going to be $150 or whatever. If I go to confirm and send, look at my max loss, $52,000. I'm really going to scratch the surface of futures in this course. If you want to spend time to learn them, I actually do dip in and out of CL because it's a higher priced underlying, which means I can get more money for the options. But I do it in a limited way, in what's called a risk-defined way, which we'll actually talk about in Module 5. USO, the oil tends to have a negative 0.1 correlation to SPY, which means it's not correlated, which is great. That means you can just do trades in it. It does its thing. It's not generally affected by the overall market. Let's take a look at its chart here in Thinkorswim. And what has happened to my charts? I was on this profit tab here for some reason. So I just went back to the chart tab. Look at, its correlation is kind of all over the place. Its implied volatility is ultra low. I don't have anything, I don't think, in USO right now. Let me take a look. My positions. Yeah, I don't have anything in USO. Implied volatility is low. It's unlikely I'm going to be doing anything. So that's USO. Next one, UNG, which is natural gas. Again, unfortunately, very cheap stock. From now on, in addition to the SPY correlation, I'm going to talk to you about correlation to the other instruments within the sector that we're talking about. So again, not particularly even correlated to oil, but it can be from time to time. Let's take a look at UNG. And applied volatility is low. There's my correlation. So you see, generally not. It's pretty low. Most of this chart generally not correlated to the market. If I were to come up here and go to the little beaker and go to correlation, hit the edit here and change this to USO. Click OK. Okay. This will show me its correlation to USO. And there are periods where it's the same, but again, same kind of deal, right? Back to the beaker. Let me edit this. And yeah, I'll change it back to SPY or SPX, doesn't matter. And actually, this should be at 90 days. There we go. There we go, a little bit better. Okay, so that's UNG. The future is /NG. And let's look at the at-the-money put in there. So closest to 45 days. Look, it sells for 26 cents, but look what happens when I go confirm and send. Max loss, $1,000. Oh, I'm still in USO, you moron. You know why that happened? Because I didn't have my link here. This link should be set to red. So let's go /NG. And let's let that load up. Again, market's closed, so I'm not going to get perfect pricing. 54 days. See, look at that. It says 14.8 cents. Confirm and send. Max loss, $27,000. Again, futures, be really careful with those. They're a confusing animal for sure. So that's natural gas, UNG. Now we're getting into ones where we can make a little bit more use. So XLE is an ETF. So remember, an ETF is essentially a basket of stocks. SPY is a basket of shares of all of the companies that make up the S&P 500, the 500 largest companies, in the U.S. XLE contains stocks that represent the energy sector. So, I mean, you can always look this up. You could go to Google and say, what is in XLE, for example, and let's see what we get. Energy sector, XLE Holdings right here, the first hit. And we're probably going to see, well, I'm guessing like G maybe, or okay, look, it's oil companies. So ExxonMobil, Chevron, Halliburton, great Halliburton, Kinder Morgan, essentially oil companies, right? So the company that manages XLE, they hold shares in all those oil companies, and it's designed to represent the oil market. So let's go to Tastyworks charts, go to XLE, take a look at it. This one's been floating down recently, right? Over, kind of a period of year. It's a little range bound here. Again, I probably sell a strangle in this. I would probably, assuming the volatility is high, I'd probably sell a jade lizard in this, which is something I'll talk about a little bit later. A jade lizard is like a strangle, but if the stock shoots up, you don't lose any money. Well, you do with a strangle. But look, the IV rank is 14. So the implied volatility is very low. If we were to go into Thinkorswim, charts, XLE, and I'm going to link my charts here. And let's look at our implied. Look how low the implied volatility is there. So not a whole lot. Volatility in general is low right now, just so you know. Okay, so that's XLE. 0.44 correlation to SPY, which means it's generally not correlated, but it is quite correlated to oil. That makes sense, right? These are oil companies. That generally speaking, their operations are going to be linked to the price of oil. All right, XLU. This is not technically in the oil and gas area. This is utilities. So let's do the same thing. XLU Holdings. Let's see, I'm getting a little fancier now. I'll use the word holdings. Oof. XLU Holdings utility sector. This is going to be the electric grid companies and things like that. Yeah, Southern Co, Dominion, Exelon, Edison, yeah, PPL. The sort of utility, the people that make electricity and gas get to your house. So they're not technically super. It's not oil and gas specifically, but they are companies that are kind of make use of those commodities. So that's XLE, $71 stock. Let's take a look at, or XLU, excuse me. XLU is a $50 stock. 50 is about my cap generally when it comes to doing strangles in my account. I don't like to do undefined risk, which is trades with unlimited loss potential in stocks much over $50. I'll do limited risk, which we start talking about in module 5. So look at this one. What would you do here? This has had a big old run up. Now, it's not as high as it was, but it has been going up and up and up and up. This, I would say, is a real candidate for selling a call. Now, the IV rank is low, 24. We generally are looking for IV ranks like 35 and above. We'll get into more detail on that as we go through. But, you know, not bad. Let's see what we can get for one of those calls. So 40 days, 30 delta call. Not a whole lot, $40. So I might maybe do something like 30 delta call and maybe 20 delta put, just to give me a profit. As you can see, my green profit zone here takes me down to 1 standard deviation on the downside, but not as far on the upside. It gets me 85 cents. I'm generally looking to try and collect $1. So, you know, I might not even do this one, but you get the basic idea. Let's see what the strangle would get me. Yeah, strangle doesn't get me a whole lot either. In Tastyworks, just so you know, this brown bar here in the middle, this is what the sentiment of the market is saying the expected move of the stock is. So if your break-evens are outside that expected move, you're getting yourself in an even better situation. All right, so that's XLU. Utilities, where are we at? 31 correlation to SPY, so not correlated. 50 correlation to USO, so not super correlated. XOP, oil and gas exploration and production. So these are companies, you know, mining, drilling, that kind of thing. Let's take a look at this one. XOP. XOP Holdings. And let's see what we get there. I don't know the names of these companies super well in XOP. Let's see what we get. I'm guessing like things like shale drilling companies are going to be in here and stuff like that. Let's take a look. Why are the holdings not listed here? Oh, here we go. Clayton Williams, Resolute, Noble Energy I've heard of, Diamondback Energy. Anyway, those are the companies that make up that. Let's take a look at XOP. Over to Tastyworks, XOP, chart. Let's go back to XLE. And then this is, again, I've just got that picture in my mind. XLE versus XOP. The charts are very similar. So those two, just in a visual way, I can tell they're correlated. IV rank very low, 10. But let's say it were 30. I'd probably be selling a put here. It's like going down and down and down. So I'm a contrarian, probably going to sell a put. So let's take a look at its actual recent correlations. Energy sector. 0.47 correlation, 7. So yeah, correlated to oil and gas. What was XLE? Look, it's the same correlation to USO as XLE was. I'll bet you if we did a correlation of XOP to XLE, it would be like a 1 or a 99. In fact, let's do that. Thinkorswim. Correlation, hit the little beaker. Go and hit a correlation. And let's do XLE. Hit OK. Okay. And we're on XLE right now, so this kind of zeroes out. But if I go to XOP, yeah, look, it's up at the top a lot of the time. That makes sense. 0.977 correlation. Now, the only reason I'm spending a moment on that is if I were to sell a put in XLE and then start looking for other trades and be like, oh, XOP is going down, I'm going to sell a put in there too. Am I diversified? The answer is no. These two stocks, in this case, they're ETFs, but regardless, they act like stocks. They're so closely correlated to each other that essentially selling a put in each one is the same trade. So I can't say, well, I'm diversified because I'm doing trades in two different stocks. They're correlated stocks. Now, what can I do? If I look at XLE, it's a $72 stock. XOP is a $38 stock. They are both a 0.7% correlation to oil. So oil is $12. I'm literally going through the way that I would think. Let's say I come in and I look at USO one day and I'm like, oh, USO's had a big down day. Let's say it's here. I want to sell a put in USO, but USO sucks. It's too cheap. I can't get much for the options. Well, how big is my account? Let's say I've got you know, a $10,000 account, I could jump up to which was the cheaper one, XOP. I could say, well, instead of doing a trade in USO, I'm going to do a trade in XOP. It also had a down, it was having down period at that time, but it's a more expensive stock, so I can get a little more for the options. You see how I'm scaling to my account size. Let's say my account size is bigger again. Well, I go for a $70 stock. Look, it's come down at the same time. So this is what, in terms of managing your account size and managing your trades, we'll talk about, you know, percentages of your account that's on any given trade, but this is a way to manage it. If I look at XLE and I say, oh, it's down, I want to sell a put, but let's go to the trade page, go to 48 days. Let's say I'm feeling bullish. I sell an at the money put. What's the delta on that put? 46, more or less a 50 delta. And let's go confirm and send. It's going to hold up $1,300 of buying power. Let's say that's 10% of my account. That's way too much for one trade. Well, I know now, based upon Mark's course, Module 4, that XLE is basically a correlation of 1 to XOP. XOP and XLE are 1 correlated. So instead of doing XLE, let's go to XOP. So I'm going to go, screw this. Let's go to XOP. And let's take a look and sell the at the money put in XOP. And here it's only holding up 600, almost half the buying, well, I think less than half the buying power, right? So now maybe I've got a trade that's more in the sort of 1-2% of my account size, but it's the same trade. That's how powerful correlation is. So you want to really be aware of that. It's not just about diversification and knowing where all your trades are, making sure that you don't have 10 trades that are all affected by the price of oil. It's also about managing your account size. All right, I got overexcited in that one. Enjoy. Go out and put these in your watch lists. Just do the regular stocks. Don't worry about the futures. And start selling some puts, some calls, some straddles, some strangles. Go crazy in your paper trading account. I can't find my stop button. Where's my stop button? There.